Hello everybody, I hope you are doing so well. It's a beautiful day here in Guatemala, and I'm just here to answer some of the questions that have been put together just to understand better a little bit about Nueva Vida. We've gone through so many changes this year. The whole world has gone through a lot of changes, and so I am thrilled to have this opportunity to answer some of the questions and do a little Q&A with you guys today. So I'm really grateful for all the questions that were submitted, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to chat a little bit about what we're up to here in Guatemala and get to the things that you guys care about. So first question is, why was there a merger of New Life School and Got Ministries? Which is a fantastic question, and basically is the theme of 2020 for us, So 20 years ago, Judy Kirshner founded New Life School, and it has been serving the children with disabilities in Santa Maria de Jesus for 20 wonderful years. God has received so much glory through that work. And I started a ministry. I started coming to Guatemala in 2011, but actually founded the ministry in 2016 called Got Ministries, and the focus is serving children with disability through occupational therapy, and really all therapies that are needed for families affected by disability to help them to achieve their potential. So when I had the opportunity to consider becoming the new executive director of New Life School, I brought with me this passion for therapy and this passion for the families that I've been working with for so long, and have been collaborating with Judy and with the New Life School for over 10 years off and on, and especially since 2016, since Got Ministries was founded. We had a therapy clinic on the 3rd floor of New Life School at the time for the last 4 years, serving through occupational therapy students. So when I had the opportunity to consider the new executive director position and to kind of receive the blessing and the privilege that it is to continue the legacy that Judy Kirshner began, and God created and began through Judy Kirshner to continue that legacy, I was coming with a ministry of my own. And so when I was asked and selected to become the new executive director, I had a ministry of my own already. And so what God really coordinated for us was the ministry that I was bringing alongside. So it was community outreach and occupational therapy and speech therapy services, hopefully physical therapy in the future. And what we were collaborating with and gaining was New Life School, the educational piece of our services. And so when I decided to say yes to God and have that privilege to move forward in this calling, the Lord really coordinated this beautiful merger between two organizations that very much love Santa Maria, that very much serve and love children affected by disability, and love Guatemala, and do truly desire to build up leaders of integrity who can bless Santa Maria. We realized that God had been creating us together and to merge, truly to unite us. So New Life School, Got Ministries, coming together, merging to be one, is really what the Lord has provided as a beautiful opportunity with the resources and the blessing of the ministry that the Lord has provided for us. And so that is why the merger occurred, is because I brought with me therapy and community outreach, and collaborating with New Life School and becoming the new director of New Life School. The three of those services for children affected by disability, together united, can strengthen the blessing that we can be to truly impact Santa Maria de Jesus through leaders of integrity who love Jesus. And that is our vision. That is what we're meant to do. And that has always been the vision of New Life School. That's always been the vision, really, ultimately, for Got Ministries. And so God coordinated that just beautifully. Also, another reason why we united and merged under one organization is because we had, as I became the new executive director of New Life School, there was actually a nonprofit that came with that blessing. And so New Life with Education in the United States, or Nueva Vida con Educación, is the name of the association here in Guatemala. And so Got Ministries came underneath New Life School, New Life with Education, Nueva Vida con Educación, and we are all called Nueva Vida now, because Nueva Vida has a beautiful way. It means new life, and that is really what God is breathing into this merger and this unity of services to collaborate for the best interest and the blessing for families affected by disability in Santa Maria. Okay, so why was the name changed? It tells a little bit about that. The name was changed because we had Got Ministries and New Life with Education, and so we really wanted to be united. And so that name change, taking New Life and Nueva Vida from New Life School and creating and creating a united brand, a united concept, a united ministry, so that we can be, again, united in our services that we provide for our families. And so that is why we changed the name, and then we created Nueva Vida, and we utilized the inspiration that God had given us through Nueva Vida, New Life with Education. And so that is the blessing, and that is what Nueva Vida means, is new life. And that is truly what God is breathing into the ministry right now as we speak. And I am grateful to be just alongside the Lord and be in the front row to watch God work in this way. It is really, really amazing. Okay, question number 2. Why did we choose Santa Maria de Jesus instead of another part of Guatemala? I love this question. This is a fantastic question. I can't speak for Judy, who founded the school, but I can speak for myself. I do know Judy's history and Judy's story, but what I can say for myself as far as why Got Ministries and why I have chosen to continue to return to Santa Maria de Jesus, one, the obvious answer is that the Lord has truly called me to these people, to this beautiful group of people, this beautiful pueblo, this beautiful culture and custom and tradition and language, just this beautiful people set apart for me to just learn from, to walk alongside, to serve, and to follow and use the gifts that the Lord has given me to bless this community in whatever way that I can. And in 2010, I came to Guatemala for the first time, and I heard about an occupational therapist who was working in a school for children with disabilities in a Mayan village called Santa Maria de Jesus. And so I went and actually was able to receive a tour from Judy Kirshner. And she said, if you know of any occupational therapists that have experience in vision that can come and work with us for a while, that know the Spanish language, we need that. We would love that. And that really touched my heart. And I was not a Christian at the time, but in 2011, I came for 5 months. And that changed my life. It turned it right side up. It changed my heart. It changed my heart, spiritually, emotionally. My whole just world changed in that moment, in those 5 months. And when I came home from Santa Maria de Jesus in 2011, in July, I had a stamp on my heart to provide consistent therapy services for families affected by disability in Santa Maria de Jesus. Really, I thought it was just Guatemala, but every time I came back, I kept coming back to Santa Maria de Jesus. I kept collaborating with New Life School. I kept getting to come back and love on the same families over and over again for months and months at a time. And those relationships grew, and the blessing that came from collaborating and just being present in Santa Maria has transformed me, absolutely, and has taught me so much. And so the Lord has given me a love for the people of Santa Maria de Jesus, and I'm privileged and so grateful for the opportunity to serve them. And so what I am passionate about is doing something well, is doing anything that I do well. And what I want to do and what I'm passionate about is providing comprehensive education, therapy, and community outreach for families affected by disability in Santa Maria de Jesus. And if and when the Lord blesses us to be able to do that really, really well, then we can grow from there. But what I don't want to do is expand beyond Santa Maria until we're ready and until the Lord calls us to do that. So right now, the Lord has very much called us to Santa Maria. I know that Judy's journey has been very similar in that she has just had this spiritual connection with Santa Maria de Jesus, and I feel the same way. So that is why we've chosen Santa Maria de Jesus. It's a privilege and a pleasure, and it's the Lord's calling for us specifically. Question number 3. How many children are served in the school? And how many children are served in therapy? And additionally, do all students have therapy? All fantastic questions. So this year in 2020, we've had 78 children in the school from kindergarten to 6th grade. And obviously our school years look very different. We're going to talk a little bit about that later because there's some questions about COVID and how that's affected us. But ultimately, I would say about 50 to 60% of the children in our school, in New Life School, it's called Centro Educativo Nueva Vida in Guatemala here, that's their official name. But of those 78 children, about 50 to 60% of them receive occupational therapy or speech therapy services that we provide. And then we also additionally provide therapy services for the community. So we have about 45 children on the caseload for occupational therapy, about 32 children on the caseload for speech therapy, and that includes about 11 to 15 families that are from the community. And those children are either too young to be in school yet, so we do early intervention services. They're either aged out of the school system, so they're older. Our oldest young woman who we serve is 24. Or for some reason there's too many complexities as far as the medical diagnosis or medically what's going on in their family or with this child that it's not appropriate for them to receive the education services that we provide. So we focus on occupational therapy and speech therapy services. So that's a little bit of the numbers. And then do all students have therapy? Obviously no. So just about 50 to 60% of them really. But the beautiful thing is that as far as caseload for therapy, it has always been growing, and there's such a need for what we're doing that families are referring families. And now that we're able to expand our services to the full community to be that first point of contact for families affected by disability, we love to be that first point of hope, that first opportunity to share that this beautiful child is created in the image of God and has so much potential, and we want to walk alongside you to help you achieve that potential and to accomplish your dreams of whatever they might be for your child and whatever that child has for themselves. And that's really our purpose. And so there's a great opportunity to have more substantial community outreach, to share the gospel so early in families' journeys as they grapple with the challenges and the beautiful complexities of living life with disability. And so that's really what we want to be. We want to be a beacon of hope. We want to be a light on a hill for families affected by disability. That is our cause. That is our purpose. And it's a real privilege to be able to live out that purpose every day. Okay. Next question. What disabilities do the children have that you serve, and how do you help them? Great question. So we have a wide variety of diagnoses within our center, within our ministry, and we have a wide variety of services that we're providing. So we also hope to expand those services, primero Dios, and that's what they say in Guatemala, which means God willing. And so yes, God willing, we will be continuing to expand our services in a holistic, comprehensive way, not assuming that we have all the right answers, but really seeking to receive from the people that we're serving. What is it that you need? What is it that are some of the obstacles in your life? Like, how can we support children leaving 6th grade and graduating 6th grade with us to transition into participating in their daily life and investing in their family life and getting a job in the future? How can we support these families in in this transition, how can we also support our families to truly see the beauty of God's grace and God's love every day in their lives? And so the possibilities are endless, but we are waiting on the Lord, and that's a real blessing to be able to do. So back to the question, what kind of disabilities do we serve? So we have children. We have beautiful children with Down syndrome. We have beautiful children with cerebral palsy. We have beautiful children with autism spectrum disorder. We have children who have Asperger's. We serve children who are just have experienced significant trauma and have a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder. We actually 85% of our families that we serve have an experience pretty consistent sexual abuse. And so we have Sandra, thank the Lord, as our school psychologist. She actually plays just our psychologist, but she does serve the school as well. But she is such a blessing because we have such a need, and to have 85% of our families experiencing sexual abuse, that is huge. And children who experience trauma in that way early in their lives, it reorganizes their brain and it affects their ability to learn effectively in a school classroom. And so we have a wide variety of disabilities. We have children with spina bifida. We have children, really, and a lot of times, honestly, we don't have the diagnoses because medical care is hard to receive, and continuity of that medical care is really challenging. We also have children who have seizure disorders, but it's all a blessing that we get to walk alongside these families and get to know their the gifts that the Lord has created them with, the opportunities to just expand our minds and improve what we provide for them, to really truly meet their needs. That is the beauty of what we get to do. So we do serve really any children that comes to us that has a challenge with their learning processing, that makes it more difficult for them to be able to be successful in the public school system, which, typically there's 50 to 60 children per one teacher in a very typically large concrete room that is very hard to learn, and there's not a lot of individualized care. And so we really provide those small classrooms and more individualized attention. And we have been learning so much this year about curriculum modifications and ways to truly meet the needs of each individual child, and that has been an incredible blessing. So we really truly serve any child that's experiencing a different ability or a special need. We're available to receive them with open arms. And so how do we provide services right now? We, if they're interested, we feel like they're either too young to come into school, or they're too old, or if there's a lot of complex medical conditions, then we will receive the family through Sandra, our psychologist, and she will do an evaluation to determine what kind of services they might need. So she'll refer to occupational therapy or speech therapy and or her own services of psychological services, and so she'll actually make a referral for us within the therapy department in Nueva Vida. And then also she does a basic evaluation to determine if a child's interested in coming or family's interested in bringing their child to our school. She's also part of the evaluation process to make sure that the children that need our services can receive our services, and that we're not filling our classrooms with children who can be successful in other places. We really are a niche ministry. We really are here to serve children that are experiencing disability every day. So that we also have a mother's group that Sandra, our psychologist, provides, and it has been transformative, and that has been a real blessing to see the growth in our families as a result of the mothers becoming agents of change and seeing their beauty and seeing their glory, that the Lord shines through them. It's really, really powerful. And so that is a huge blessing that we have. Our teachers are amazing. They extend we've been doing Bible studies, and our 6th grade teacher's been extending some Bible study opportunities for our children. There's just so many opportunities that we have, and to collaborate together to serve children with disabilities. Okay, next question. what is life like in Santa Maria de Jesus? So what does like a typical home look like as well? So when the school was started 20 years ago, the kind of the landscape of Santa Maria de Jesus looked very different, is what I hear. And all homes had dirt floors and cornstalk walls and tin roofs. And that was pretty typical, very, very typical. And that's still very typical today. It's still very, very typical today. But what we have seen in the last 20 years, and just I've seen in the last 10, is that so many more concrete buildings have gone up, and so more concrete homes have been built. There's organizations that are creating homes, ministries that are creating homes that are made out of wood. Some create block homes and some create wooden homes, and so you see a lot more of those in the village. But yeah, that's the typical home. I'd say 50% of the families that we serve through therapy, that I have served through therapy, have dirt floors and tin roofs and cornstalk walls. So, but yeah, about 50-50. 50% have concrete homes or wooden homes, mostly concrete, and then the others have the dirt floors and tin roofs. But life in Guatemala is obviously different than in the United States, which is a beautiful thing in various ways. Also, there's a lot of different hardships that families experience every day, but life is busy, but it's busy in a different way naturally. And so I can't say verbatim that this is exactly the schedule of every family member. Of course I can't say that, but the families who have agricultural jobs, and that's a very common job, especially for the men in Santa Maria, they leave the home very, very early and they walk up the volcano, the dormant volcano Agua, to get to their farms, and then they spend all day farming, and sometimes they'll come home for lunch and sometimes they won't, but then they'll come back late at night when the sun goes down. And Guatemala actually doesn't, because it's at least in Santa Maria and in Antigua area, this region is the area of eternal spring, and so very consistent sunrises and sunsets. Usually about 6 a.m. and the sun rises every day, and about 6:30 p.m. the sun sets every day, and that's pretty consistent all year long. And we know, in the United States, at my home in Kansas City, our days are getting much shorter. And that transition we have to go through as winter comes and winter goes. But here it's very consistent as far as the amount of light they have every day. And so that is, that's just a typical day for the men, typically in the homes. The women spend their days, of course, depending on the family, but typically they'll wash laundry every day. Some homes have a pila where they can wash their laundry in the home, and some people have to go and kind of pay for a sink or pay for a pila in the community, like what I call the laundromat, but it's a big sink, lots of sinks around one big sink in the middle, and they do their laundry there, they actually hand scrub their laundry. And that takes a long time. One of my good friends taught me a little bit about how the Santa Marians do wash their laundry, and it can be like 30 minutes to 45 minutes per garment, depending on what kind of garment they're working with. So it's a time intensive activity, and it's also they usually only have so many options of clothing. And during the rainy season, which is 6 months of the year here, which means it rains every day, but it stays a beautiful 75 to 80 degrees. It's hard to keep things dry and get things dry quickly with all the moisture in the air. So so that can be a real long, drawn out process, the laundry. But making all the meals, taking care of all the babies, washing all the laundry, and sometimes making tortillas is a typical activity that our mamas and our families experience every day, amongst multitudes of other activities. But those are very typical, kind of more consistent cultural activities that our families experience every day. Okay, so questions about COVID. So how has COVID affected Guatemala and Nueva Vida? What changes have you had to make this year, and how will COVID affect next year? Great question. So I mentioned a little bit earlier about this year we've been spending lots of time learning, and that has been the real gift of COVID, if we can even consider it something that, obviously all things good can come out of all things, and this is a real big blessing for the ministry that we've experienced through this time, is that we've had this kind of carved out time this year that the classes have been suspended, that children have not been able to come to school, and so our teachers and our staff are available to collaborate and to learn and to teach each other. And so we've collaborated with a couple of organizations and received in-services from these organizations on various topics. Our therapists have taught our team about COVID, about precautions, about prevention, about history of the virus and how it affects us. We've also had, we've collaborated with another fantastic organization who's been teaching us about disability, curriculum modification, adapting the classroom and our teaching methods so that children can learn as well as possible. We've learned about various kinds of disability. We've learned about sensory processing. We've learned about different ways of evaluating performance of the children in the classroom, and fun ways to create evaluations like participation activities, which is so fun. And so we've really had such a learning year in so many ways. But the classes were suspended on March 16th, and so we have not had school officially since then. And their school year is actually from January through October, and so their school year actually is over officially at the end of October. And what that means is really right now we're planning for next year to start our new school year. So there's lots of things to take into consideration there. But during this year, we have been Skyping. We've been actually mostly Zoom calls very, very frequently. Our whole team has had 2 personnel meetings per week where we've been also spending time in spiritual formation. And so we've been studying the Bible and studying passages in the Bible and spending time listening to the Lord, worshiping together, and just strengthening our unity amongst our team, and then also strengthening our capacity to hear the Lord and to see what the Lord is doing. And so all those things are things that we've gained during this time. Challenges are expansive as well. There's a lot of challenges that have come with this year, but I think one of those is just not having enough time with our kids. We have continued to provide guides and worksheets every 2 weeks. We've been providing worksheets and educational materials for our children, for our 78 kids in our classroom, and the therapy department has provided worksheets and different activities and ways to continue therapy in the home to our therapy families as well. And so weekly phone calls, every other week we've been providing guides. The weeks that we're not providing guides and worksheets for our families, as far as an educational material, we've been providing food bags, and we've been providing food bags for about 34 to 37 families every 2 weeks. And the food bags have been really, really important because this time has been really, really challenging. When the schools closed in March, the public transportation also closed, which means that a lot of families were not able to get to their work, which means they're not able to bring any money home to make and to buy food for their tables and for their families. And for us, the average family that we serve has at least 4 children in the family, and so you can imagine that with minimum resources and multiple mouths to feed, as a lot of the United States citizens have also experienced too, but the government has not had the capacity to truly meet that need in a lot of ways. And so nonprofit organizations here in Guatemala have been providing that need. They're providing towards that need. So we've been able to do the same, and we will continue to do that through the end of this year. And then truly have another conversation with all of our families to determine who still needs to be on that list and who has been able to return to work or been able to return to more of a normalcy within their home. And we actually have had at least 5 families that have come to us and said, hey, you should use this blessing for someone else because my husband was able to go back to work, or I was able to get some money for tortillas, and we're in a more stable place. So please continue to bless someone else with this. And that is beautiful, because that is integrity, and that is gratitude and sharing the blessing that we've been receiving. And so we're blessed to be a blessing, and it's been amazing that we've just been learning alongside the families too this year. Next year, really, as we think about next year as far as the school is concerned, the Ministry of Education here has identified that it will be more of a hybrid style of education in the beginning of the school year. So with our families in the village, technology is really hard to access. We have been reaching out to everybody through either WhatsApp, which is more of like it requires data on their phone to be able to access, and they have to have a smartphone to be able to access this application, to either have a video call or a regular phone call or text message communication. And so we've been using WhatsApp. We've been using, for the families that do have that, we've been using just regular phone calls. We've been using notes. We've been having home visits to just be able to stay in touch, ask for prayer requests, continue to be praying for our families. But next year, a hybrid style, using technology part-time and using in-person educational opportunities is challenging for a few different reasons. One is because the access to technology is low in Santa Maria. The second additional reason is that our children have special needs. They have additional adaptive learning needs. And so we need to be able to really provide those face-to-face, in person. And so learning through written worksheets or learning through phone calls, every couple weeks really is not supporting our children to learn as effectively as possible. And we've seen the great challenges that's presented with the progress that the children have been experiencing, not because of a lack of a trying and effort and amazing just work that our teachers have been doing, but because it's not an ideal learning environment for many. And so that's another additional challenge. So right now we actually have a junta, which is the leadership of New Life School. And so that's me, the principal, Marisol, the psychologist, Sandra, and then also our sub-director, who we are meeting on a weekly basis through the end of November, really trying to focus on what do our children need to be successful. And if the Ministry of Education is requiring this modification, how do we navigate that? How do we navigate that for our kids in our school and in our village? And so lots of things are coming. We also, our moms group has been creating masks for all of our kids, which is amazing. And so we'll have masks for all of our babies, all of our kids that are coming to school or coming to the therapy clinic. So we'll have those resources. What's been really neat too is that we've required all of our parents to receive an in-service about COVID precautions, what is COVID, how to navigate it, how to respond to it, and how to not have fear, how to trust the Lord in all of this journey. So those things have been some of the things we've been trying to prepare for next year. But COVID will of course have an effect, and it's hard to say and hard to project just now, but really, in the midst of all the challenges that we've experienced this year, we have had abundant blessings. This ministry has grown. This ministry has rooted deep in our vision, and we have drawn near and stayed close to the Lord, asking for His wisdom and waiting on Him. So I am grateful for all of you guys who make this possible. This work could not be done without you. And so please hear from the bottom of my heart my gratitude and my appreciation for each one of you who pray for us, who give financially, who encourage us, who reach out to us, who read our newsletters, who respond, who advocate for us. Just Lord knows that yeah, that we need all of those things, and all of those things truly do make a difference, because the Lord is moving and the Lord is shaking and the Lord is working here, and it's a privilege to, like I said before, be there in the front seat watching it all happen, and just being able to build up leaders and share the vision, and to truly just collaborate with an incredible team. It's a privilege and a pleasure. So I'm grateful for you guys for making this possible. I'm grateful for the Lord, and all the glory to Him. Thank you so much for your questions, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Please send any more that you have, and I'd love to answer any further questions you guys have. Thank you so much. Be blessed.